Hey, what's going on, guys? It's me, Aiden, from Cartoon Apocalypse, and welcome back to another episode of Turner Tuesday. This is the 4th episode of Let's Make a Cartoon, or Turner Tuesday, or whatever you want to call it. And in case for some reason you're out of the loop, I try to stream Sundays, and basically this is just a recap video of what happened in the stream. So basically the way this is going to be formatted is I'm going to be breaking this up into segments. So I'll have like a little intermission session like this, and I'll be like, okay, so this is what we're doing first, and then I will have like a little commentary sort of filling in any missing holes that you might have from not actually being in the stream. So I'll just sort of describe what's going to happen in the next segment, and then I will just play the clip straight from the stream. But before we actually get into that, I do have a couple announcements to make. First announcement is I made a public Discord, like a specific Discord server for Page Turner. So this is an official extension off of the streams. So instead of only relying on the streams, this is a server that anybody can join, and I highly recommend that if you are really interested and you try to make the streams every week, I would highly recommend joining, because this will allow you to actually be in a conversation that I might reference in the stream over the next week or so. So this is a full extension, and this is an extension off of the internal team, which I introduced in the last stream. So the internal team's there, and just everybody who wants to be there can be there. So we're just going to be coming up ideas. So it's going to be like a 24/7 stream, basically. So if you are interested in that, I highly recommend joining, because there you can post your fan art. That's going to be like the main place I recommend that you send art to, and discussions and everything. So highly recommended that you join. I can't remember if I said this, but link's down in the description as always. So the next announcement is over designs. During the course of the stream, I can't remember if I mentioned it in these clips that I'll show off, but I want you guys to send me 2 different designs if you want to help create the designs. Now, I'm not going to be showing them off in a full stream, because I don't know, I just didn't like that the way that the last stream was formatted, the 3rd episode stream. But I guess if you guys really want that, then we could do it again at some point. But basically, I want Nico designs and I want logo designs, and the first clip in this episode is going to be showing off like a couple logo designs that I came up with. So basically, if you have any ideas for the logo of Page Turner, or if you have any ideas for Nico's design, please go ahead and send them to me. Again, highly recommended that you send them to the Discord, but you can also send them to me via email, or Twitter or Instagram also works, but again, Discord is the highly recommended one. Now that's all for my announcements. If you want to jump around, I'll have the time codes up on screen and down in the description, or the comments depending on what time it is, most likely the comments for you. So yeah, without any further ado, let's go and hop right into the first section, which is basically just me showing off a little animation that I made and a couple extra logo designs for Page Turner. I have a little video. So these are some examples, and I made a little animation. Here it is. So this is my idea for the logo. Is this gonna loop? Probably not. So I went ahead and animated this, and it took a lot longer than I expected it to, but just right here, this was one of my ideas. Now we could change this up a little bit, but this was just like my first initial idea that I was like, whatever. So yeah, so something like an intro, but this would be the actual logo. So this will just be a part of the thing. And if I actually knew how to animate and do stuff, then one idea that I had is that this would be flipping through pages like this. And then, like, say, for example, this E, it would get ripped off. And then for an intro, for example, the page would be floating around the characters, and they would be going around maybe trying to chase the page or doing this and that. And then eventually it would be thrown in here. And then maybe at the very end it would get crushed and then turned into flame, and then big flame and transition something. I don't know. This was just one of the first initial designs that everyone liked. So that was one thing. And then on my my sketch pad thing, there was let me just pull it up. Here's my sketch thing. So this was just me quickly writing things down, and then this is where that whole Page and Turner thing came from. So this next segment is me showing off some Blake designs. Now these Blake designs are finalized, so I'm sorry you didn't get to like throw in your designs for Blake. I guess if you wanted to like suggest ideas, you can always suggest ideas if you wanted to, but as far as the design goes, we're pretty much sticking with what's showed in this video, so go check it out. And then let me just go ahead and show you Blake, because we've already decided on Blake's character, and I'm sorry that if it's not, like if you had a different idea for Blake, but I'm really happy with how this one turned out. So this one sort of, this is what Blake is gonna look like. And Blake, as far as right now, from what me and sort of the internal team has talked about, is Blake, our idea is that Blake should be on Luna's side. So this is the character that would be Luna's teacher, and then his wife would be on the other side, being Nico's teacher. So this is sort of his design, and it's cool. And then we have this one, more concept art for this, and then this one's from Raw Lunix. So thanks so much for designing these. So this is sort of just like Blake's design. So next up here we have a really long segment here, so let me first describe it into like 3 different sections sort of. So the first little segment is picking between 2 different Luna designs, so we actually have it finalized and you'll see which one's the actual winner, so whenever you think of Luna, that is the Luna that we have in mind. And then next, after that, you will be seeing sort of a description that me and sort of the internal team came up with for as like regarding Luna and sort of things about her. So then a big chunk of that is just describing that. And then later on, we also talk about Nico and sort of Nico and Luna's dynamic and sort of their personalities. And so we sort of go through that and discuss sort of what we came up with. So this is a bit of a long section, so I apologize for that. And I don't know, by the time I'm editing this, I might actually put time codes for the separate segments just without like a little section ender like this. So yeah, let's just go ahead and let you view it. Okay, well, I think that's gonna be it. That means that number 1 is the winner. Da-da-da. So this, I think we went through all the blues pretty much. We're gonna leave it at this. But so far, this is the Luna. This is Luna that we have. So whenever you're thinking of Luna, you are thinking of this character, except for this ribbon won't be there until later on in the show, because this is a whole idea. And again, this sort of goes, because we sort of talked about how, like, we just brainstormed some other ideas for how bonding works, and just, we did a lot of brainstorming, but we're not doing that today. We're talking about her personality. So, oh boy, let's go ahead and favorite this. We're gonna call this Luna. So I guess I'll move this over here. So Mr. Grapefruit went ahead, he's part of the internal team. So he sort of went ahead and took everything that we talked about, or most of the things I think, and made this nice little sheet. So I like this. Okay, so we basically decided that Luna is a shy but charismatic because of her unconditional compassion for others and ability to see the potential in them. So basically, actually I'll read this whole thing and then I'll explain it. She is methodical in her thinking, quick-witted and confident inside, but is weak at the moment when it comes to affirming herself, and is hesitant to follow through with her decisions. So basically, Luna here, maybe I should do all of this. Let's go ahead and read all of it, and then we'll go through here. Luna's parents run a successful house cleaning business and wish for Luna to follow in their footsteps. However, Luna has her eyes set on something else, being a knight. Because her parents are very kind and caring, Luna does not want to disappoint them and ends up agreeing to whatever they say. Luna is also half dragon and half elf. Luna chooses to wear her school uniform at all times as an excuse to not wear the dress her parents want her to wear. Oops, duplicated that on accident. Okay, and then as far as education, the school system, or the school thing goes, Luna has a knight's heart and an adventurer's spirit. Luna studies at Brynor Prep in history of folklore to appease her parents, but wishes to study in knighthood and chivalry. When Luna was just a child, Mr. Blake rescued her while she was trying to compete in a quest, and now Mr. Blake, a former knight, as her teacher, she can still learn the basics with his help. And this whole line here, like when Luna was a child, that was sort of like a backstory thing where Luna doesn't remember it, but Blake does. So, okay, that's sort of everything that we got here. And so, let me sort of describe it in easy to understand terms, because I always like to do that. Luna is a people pleaser. She wants to do things that other people want her to do, and she doesn't like saying no because, or well, here's the thing. She's confident in her mind, but when it actually comes to things, she's like, she doesn't. So, for example, her parents are like, oh, we want you to continue our business. Even though they would be perfectly fine with her saying, no, I want to do something different, they would be perfectly fine with that. Luna is just like, oh, this is what I want to do, but she doesn't tell them that. So she's just shy and is like, oh, well, I actually want to be a knight. And it's weird because she's like an introvert. That's sort of what we decided. So, like, she's an introvert, but she wants to be a knight. So it's really interesting. And she has the ability to see the potential in people, and she is quick thinking, but when it comes to actually speaking out stuff, she's not confident. So she like when it cut, like, so say for example, you are performing a speech in front of a bunch of people, right? You are all prepared, you know exactly what you're gonna say. You're like, yeah, you've practiced with a bunch of your friends, but when it comes to it and you get out on that stage in front of thousands of people, you're like, oh, and then you're not confident anymore. That's exactly what Luna is. Yeah, so Emster, Luna is brave, but is shy. So like, for example, again, if she was to become a knight, she would be like, yeah, I can do this, like right before quest, and then she'd be like, oh shoot, well, I don't know if I actually want to do this. So that's sort of what we decided. What do you guys think of that? Do you like that idea? Maybe I should describe sort of Nico's character as well, just to show how Luna and Nico compare and contrast and how their personalities sort of mix together. So we wanted one introverted person and one extroverted person, and that the introvert is going to be Luna, at least that's what we talked about, and then Nico is a really interesting character. So we said that Nico is a daredevil. Actually, you know what? Let me just go ahead and copy and paste this thing into Photoshop here. Nico is a daredevil that loves to test his limits and run straight into danger with his total self-confidence. As a child, he lost his eye in an accident, and ever since, he has wished to experience the same thrill as he did in that moment. Which I know is weird, and you're probably wondering, how did we get this idea of him losing an eye? Well, basically, if I can find it, it was, yeah, it was here. This, remember this eye in here? I was like, this kind of looks like an eye socket. And I was like, oh, well, why is it doesn't make, I mean, I guess you could see it being only one eye, but then I was like, wait a minute, what if we made Nico only have one eye, and then that makes this design? I ended up just drawing up this one, like, as a more digital format, and then in here you can sort of see the outline of an eye that I erased. But that's how I got the idea that he only has one eye. And sort of how that would work is we don't know how he lost his eye. Again, we didn't really talk about Nico too much, but he either has an eye patch or he has a fake eye to where it looks like a real eye and nobody really knows that it's a fake eye unless if he goes around exclaiming that it's a fake eye. And so he would just like live with this one eye. So that's sort of where that idea came from. And basically, we described Nico as this really crazy guy. And he doesn't have too many friends because everybody thinks he's crazy and he wants to do all these daredevil-y things. So nobody's like, yeah, let's go play, because they're all afraid that Nico's going to get them killed. So that's sort of what we came up with. I'm pretty happy with how Nico is, and Luna. And we don't have to do that one eye thing. That was just sort of why Nico is so daredevil-y, because, you know when when you get into trouble and you're doing something that you're really not supposed to, your adrenaline gets up and all this stuff. And so Nico really likes that experience, and he's never had anything such quite like it, like losing an eye. We don't know how he lost his eye. There's definitely some story behind it. But presumably he was doing something where he was having a lot of fun, and then when it came to losing his eye, it was like, oh my gosh, this is the peak of my life. He's like, I've never felt so alive. So he wants to experience that again, but he can't really. And I don't know, maybe his parents are like, no, you need to stay out of trouble. So then he's just trying to like find that experience again. So I don't know. And obviously Luna would help like cope him through it. And then another thing that we talked about, Nico knows a lot of information. And this is just another edit. Again, all of this stuff can change. This is just sort of the design that we came up with so that I had something to present to you today. So Nico knows a lot of information. He knows a lot of history. He knows a lot of chemistry, for example. He knows all of that stuff, but he doesn't know how to apply it. So it's like Nico is intelligent, but he doesn't have a lot of wisdom. While Luna, on the other hand, doesn't know too many things, but like the things that she does know, she knows how to apply them very well. So for example, this would work really well in conjunction because Nico could be like, oh, well, the chemical compound for this is this and this. And then Luna can be like, what if we use this to set off a trap that does all this stuff? And then it would be like this big thinking moment where it would get the audience being like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. So basically, Nico knows the stuff. Luna puts that to use. So Luna would be like, well, I want to do this thing, and I need this and this and this, and then Nico could be like, oh, I know what this is, because if they're on Earth, for example, Luna doesn't know anything about that, so Luna's going to need Nico's guidance, and then Luna is going to be like, okay, well, now that I know what this stuff is, I can use that to formulate this plan. So, that's what we came up with that. Okay, and then I saw a lot of people talking about wings. And here was the idea for that. Luna doesn't start out with wings, but that's something that she gains throughout the course of the show. So like, for example, something that we didn't write down, but we talked about, I think, was that Luna, since she's a half dragon, half elf, that's why she has pointy ears, and she can do magic. Like, if she's a moon elf, then that means that she can do magic, like, when it's a full moon, she does more magic than if it's like a closed moon, and that's sort of, ooh, that eye gif. I don't know if you guys saw that eye gif that I posted on a community post, but her eyes change based on the formation of the moon, or the phase of the moon. So let's see if I can pull that up here. Here's the gif, and I think this looks so cool. So her eyes just sort of, phase. This is obviously over the course of like a month, but this is sort of the different phases that her eye would take. So that's sort of that. So if she's a moon elf, then that means that she can do some sort of magic, but obviously if it's like if it's like a new moon, she can't do any magic, for example. So I think because if she is gonna be like half elf, half dragon, that means that she isn't fully dragon. And what that also means is that she doesn't have all the features of a dragon yet. So like, for example, she doesn't have scales, she has skin like an elf would, but the color is still in the skin. So like the skin is still like a whitish color like the dragon would be, just without the scales. She still has the horns of a dragon. She doesn't have the wings, and that's one of the things. So like, for example, maybe if she had other dragon friends when she was younger, they all like had wings from the start, or they gained them really early on, while Luna's over here like, oh, well, I don't have wings, so am I ever gonna be a real dragon? Because maybe that's the mark of a real dragon, if you have wings. So maybe she's like self-conscious about not having wings. And this final segment is the thing that I've been wanting to do for the past 2 or 3 streams, and that's Luna's character sheet. So I had this character sheet that I downloaded off the internet, and we went through and filled out the first part of it, because the second and third parts, I think there are 3 parts, those parts related to sort of her backstory and her world, and we can't do that because we haven't designed her world. So instead, we just went ahead and filled out the first sheet, and that seemed pretty good, because by the time that we finished that, it was already 2 hours. And by the way, in case you noticed like a weird jump in the cameras, for some reason, my recording software stopped working when I was recording the video, so I have to redo this last part here. But yeah, here is the character sheet part. Nationality, I guess it would just be like, elf / dragon, I don't know. Education, school, well, we don't really know what their education system is. Occupation, none. I guess. Income, none. Height. Okay, so where was that sheet? Or this thing? So this is sort of what we talked about in, was it last stream? I think it was last stream. We brought up height. So we wanted Luna to be taller than Nico. And we had said, I don't know, I just threw out random numbers saying 5'9" and 5'6". So 5 feet 9 inches. Sorry for all of you guys outside of the US. I can't believe we still haven't made the switch over to the metric system. Moon birthmark on the back of her neck? Well, her moon birthmark is her eyes, I would say. Horns and elf ears. Elf ears, horns, tails. Yeah, let's just go ahead and go with that, I guess. I don't know if this is necessarily, if this document's made for, like, people of other, like, I don't know, race, I guess. Like, elf and dwarf and stuff like that. So, tail. Like, horns. And then, like, you know, just, like, typical elf stuff. Okay, so her preferred outfit, I think Luna's personality is just like, well, I don't really care too much what my outfit looks like. She just doesn't, the thing is, her parents want her to wear a dress, but she doesn't want to. So she's like, you know what? I'll just wear my uniform instead. So that's why we made her in this uniform. Actually, speaking of which, we have another design for like a more casual wear. I can't remember what category it's under. No. Oh, here it is. This is, like I said, this hair color was the one that we had sort of decided on. So this is more of her like casual wear. Like this is something that we would see if she was going on a quest. This is more of like what we would see from her usually. So you know how like main characters have their main attire, you know, like Marco, for example, has his hoodie and, you know, stuff like that. This would be Luna's main attire. This would be like adventurous attire. So yeah, similar, but you know, there's still some sort of difference there. So I think, and okay, the backstory behind her not wanting to wear a dress is because since she wants to be a knight, she wants to be active and running around and be ready for battle and stuff like that. So sort of the idea behind that is that if she was in a dress, it would be hard to move around. So that's why she doesn't like dresses. So that's sort of the idea on that. So uniform, let's just put that down for now. Uses her tail to grab stuff. That's interesting. I don't know if she has that power, but that'd be pretty cool. Yeah, habits. What habits does she have? Like, sort of, what does she like? Oh, well, an example of this would be eyes. Like her eyes change with the phase of the moon. So that would be one thing that would be classified under this. We're just gonna move on. Health. Does she suffer from any illnesses? No, I'm gonna say no. I don't think so. Handwriting. What's her handwriting like? We don't even know what language they have. Okay, here's the thing. I feel like we should have two different ones, right? One that's more sloppy, one that's nicer looking. I'm thinking that Nico's being sloppy is more fitting. So I'm thinking that Luna's handwriting should be more neat. Okay, Luna's is gonna be neat. We're gonna make Luna's the neat one. Now, obviously, there was a whole lot more to that character sheet than I actually included in this video because this video is already really long. But if you do want to see the entire character sheet, then if you join the Discord in the resources section, or maybe it's stream resources section, there's actually a link to that PDF where you can go and view it. And I just highly recommend joining the Discord because all the resources that you could ever need for Page Turner are there. All of the images that we have used, like all of the official images, the high resolution versions, the Google Doc, there's a link to that where you can like check out what I've written down for notes. So yeah, highly recommended that you join the Discord because it is a complete extension off of the stream, so you're going to be missing out if you're not a part of the Discord. And as far as what we're going to be doing next week, my plan is to do a character sheet for Nico. We're going to be just brainstorming Nico's character, and then hopefully we'll actually get to fill out some of his character sheet. I don't know if we actually will, but hopefully we can. But that's the plan for next week. So if you are interested, then I hope to see you next Sunday. But yeah, without any further ado, that's going to be it for this video, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Goodbye.